And welcome, Prashant. Welcome, Manoj. Welcome, Joydeep.
Thank you.
Wonderful to have you join in this panel discussion on rebuilding your debt fund portfolio. Okay, we just saw Amit Tripaঠি's presentation, and I liked the last slide where he mentioned that we are now taking an approach which is where the three main features are visibility, which is predictability of end results. We're looking at fund casing, which is defining the boundaries much tighter, and the finally sticking to the mandate. Okay, so this creates a higher degree of safety. So, Prashant, tell us from this conceptual framework, how do we move it? How have you started practicing it?
Uh, Thanks, Prem, and thank you, Cafe Mutual, for giving this opportunity. So, as far as gaining the confidence of investors back, in fact, if you look at last 2 years, as Amit also covered in his presentation, that last 2 years has been tough for investors. Initially, credit crisis followed by liquidity crisis due to COVID. So in such a scenario, what has been done by AIMS is to imbibe the confidence into investors back, so that they come here with a very different kind of motive, and they look at debt funds for what the debt funds are meant to be.
Correct.
So one important thing, a couple of important things, in fact, is not only from mutual fund side, but even from a regulator side. I think there have been couple of steps. I will not go into the steps in detail because it will take a longer time. But clearly, from a regulator point of view, there have been steps as far as concentration risk, as far as rating risk is concerned, and defining the portfolio attributes is concerned. They have defined it very, very clearly for investors. So investors are benefited because of that. From a fund house perspective, as you would have noticed in the previous presentation also, that there are things like investment policy or say fund casing, basically creating a fence around the fund manager to act responsibly and do what is being communicated to the investor. So clearly, fund casing defines those limits on duration, on rating, on maturity, and investor understands that what he's getting into, what he will get at the end of the product. So from an investor perspective, what we as fund house we expect is the investment horizon. See, initially the issue was people used to invest in a long dated fund with a 3 months or a 6 month horizon. Now I consider that as a trading, more of a trading view, and earning returns in that is more of a luck than of expertise. So rather, I think there is a given principle, given rule that every fund starting from short, that is liquid, ultra short term to long dated funds, have a defined investment horizon, say below 1 year or 1 to 3 year or more than that. So investors have to be very, very clear on the investment horizon, and they have to invest in these funds accordingly with three basic principles, which we call the pillar of investment. One is safety of their investment, one is liquidity of their investment, and one is tax efficient returns on their investment. If they are sure about the investment horizon and they are sure about the asset class they are getting into, I don't think so investors will be negatively surprised as far as returns and liquidity go. Yeah, that's
Yes, Prashant, please
yeah.
continue.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, so but more in terms of its implementation. Uh, is there anything that fund managers such as you are doing to ensure that investors have a safer experience now? I
Yeah.
mean,
So
in terms of a strategy, some approach which you have devised?
yeah, certainly. I mean, as I told you, there are three important pillars of
Yes,
investment.
correct.
One is safety of their investments, liquidity, and returns. So clearly, keeping these three motives in hindsight, we have launched a couple of products which are long dated products, which are buy only products. They are investing into G6, they are investing into STL, they are investing into PSU AAA. So basically, this gives you liquidity, this gives you returns, and this gives you safety of principal. So when an investor comes here, depending on the maturity and the investment horizon, he is clear about what he is going to get over a period of time. And clearly, the expectation is meeting the outcome. That is what we saw in last couple of years, that there was slight mismatch between the expectation and the return. But clearly, what we are doing is defining the funds on the basis of their quality or their features, and providing communicating the same thing to investor. Supposing I want to get someone in long dated funds which are GSEC and SDL oriented, clearly in those funds we are communicating that if investor is interested in coming in for 5 to 10 years, then only he should invest, because in initial years when interest rate goes up, there will be kind of volatility. So you have to live with that volatility. How you wait in other asset classes like FD or tax free bonds. Similarly, you got to have an investment horizon in consideration, and accordingly you have to invest.
Okay, great. Now, let me move to Joydeep. Joydeep, what are the basic aspects of debt funds that investors should keep in mind?
Good evening, Prem. So in the context of picking up a debt fund, taking a cue from what Amit said, what Prashant said, and keeping the experience in mind, the basic building blocks for picking up a debt fund. Firstly, look at what the fund is, what the fund can do. SEBI has 16 clearly defined fund categories, which mandates what a fund can do or what a fund cannot do. Next, look at the AMC positioning, AMC mandate, because even within a given mandate, the AMC has certain authority to tweak within that mandate. Thirdly, look at the basic hygiene factors, look at the track record, look at the AMC pedigree, look at the corpuses and the basic due diligence factors. Then look at the performance of the fund, how the fund is over a long period of time. Avoid the recency bias, because people have this psychological thing of looking at the last 1 month, 2 months, 3 months kind of thing. Look at a long period of returns. Then look at the portfolio quality, like what Amit mentioned about this defaults and all those things. Look at the portfolio quality, and overall look at the fitment, as in how this fund, how this scheme fits into your overall scheme of things. That is about picking up of debt funds. I'll take one way to make one point. About the various default issues which Amit mentioned, just to give you one data point, if you look at the NPA of the mutual fund industry, it is approximately 1.5%. Now, what is this 1.5%? If you look at the magnitude of the NPA of the mutual fund industry and divide it by the debt AUM, you get a figure of approximately 1.5%. Now, to juxtapose this, the NPA of the banking segment, as in including PSU and private sector banks, it was 8.5% this March 20. It is going up to 12.5% in March 21 as per RBI estimates. If you look at LIC, it was 6% March 19. It was 8% this March 20. Not to point fingers, just to make a point that the issue of NPA is across, and if we juxtapose, probably mutual fund industry has done relatively better than the other segments like banking and insurance.
Okay. So, Manoj, I know that you're an active investor, and you seem to be clearly someone very well disposed towards debt. This thing, you made a substantial allocation to debt mutual funds yourself. So, how do you go about, selecting a fund, choosing the right manager? How do you go about doing it?
Prem, thank you very much first for having me, to you and Cafe Mutual. I think it's a great show. I've watched some of the sessions, and it's coming across very well. You've got great stuff there. You're right, both for myself as well as for every organization I've worked for, I have always, debt has been very close to my heart. I started my life as a debt fund manager with a bank, and continued almost forever. And now it's personal funds as well. So, Prem, just to highlight, your question actually is in two parts. So maybe I will take the opportunity of answering both those parts. So the first question is, what should one look for when one is investing in debt mutual funds, or how do you construct a debt mutual fund portfolio? And the second part is, of course, how do you specifically decide how to select a mutual fund, so to say. So the first part, Prashant kind of referred to it in passing, really three pillars: safety, liquidity, and return or yield, right? But, I would take a leaf out of a Bollywood film and say at this point of time, it's really safety, safety, safety. If you, as someone said, it was entertainment, 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 right? And why do I say that? Normal times, it's fine to say that I will chase yield because, everything is hunky-dory, nothing is going to go wrong, no provisioning. We are living in a post-COVID or a pre-COVID 20-year-ago world and so on, right? But today, there are a lot of stresses. It's important for us, for everyone to realize that safety comes first. And when you decide to make your portfolio safe or decide to invest in a mutual fund or a debt mutual fund, which values safety the most, and I'll come to that in a minute, you automatically get a lot of liquidity because that mutual fund or that scheme is typically investing either in government bonds or it is investing in AAA assets. And both these categories are extremely liquid. Return, you can say that if you're really focused on return, why are you looking at debt at all? You should be speculating in the stock market or going and buying equity. So I think in another way, you already have substantial assets allocated to equity or something which is going to give you high returns. And the debt portion is really focused around safety and liquidity. Now, why safety is so critical today? The reason is simple. One is that growth is taking a beating across the board, across the world. We are going to see a lot of corporates stressed. You are going to see defaults, you're going to see downgrades going forward. Temporarily, all this has been pushed forward because the central bank has said, provisioning, insolvency proceedings, all take a back seat. You take it next year. But it's not going to go away. What does that mean? It means that you will probably not see that many downgrades in the near future. You will be sanguine that your portfolio looks good, everything is AAA. But the fact is that the AAA that it is showing may not really be what you think it is. So it's important for you to realize that. You might see that stress coming in next year in 2021. Hence the focus on safety. And, I will move to the second part of this question by saying, there should be, I use this as a catchphrase. Do not have any guilt for investing in guilt. So, guilt as in government securities. It's a guilt-free investment. And, my fellow panelist Prashant knows because I'm a big fan of the, sorry, it's not a plug for Nippon Nivesh, okay? But I'm a big fan of Nippon Nivesh. I put a considerable amount of money there. And believe me, in the last 2 years, Nippon Nivesh, which has invested only in very long-term government bonds, has yielded 20% annualized compounded CAGR, okay, for the last 2 years. So debt also can yield if you time it right. Unfortunately, there is no chance of making 20% annualized from here for the next 2 or 3 years. But what I'm saying is there is very little expectation that yields go up from here. There is some amount of inflationary pressure, but I expect it to be passing. It's not to do with food and stuff like that. So you will not see interest rates go up, not in India, not anywhere in the world. So you have 10-year bonds have come down to 200 basis points, from 8% to 6%. But it's not going to 8% in a hurry. You have to figure out that it's better for you to invest in government bonds. Go to a fund manager or a scheme which is invested in government bonds, and you're going to be the safest because there's nothing safer than government bonds. You go for AAA paper as well for a little bit of yield pickup, but the risk remains that you might see corporate spreads widen. So you might see a bit of a depreciation on your portfolio as far as corporate bonds are concerned. So it's better to play safe, go for accrual, go for sit. And in India we are in a reasonably decent position. We are not anywhere close to 0% interest rates as it is in Europe and the US. We are not negative real rates. We've got positive real rates still, and they will continue. So there is no need for us to chase yield, you see. So I would advise every investor to be cognizant of that, play it safe, no need for heroism at this point of time, no need to chase yields and so on. One last point, I think, which is very critical for investors to remember when they invest. Quite often, people go for smaller funds, thinking that they are very manageable. You can see what's happening, you can track portfolios and so on. But in this environment, it's particularly important to go for size, go for funds which are really large. Just to give you a, anecdotal evidence, like you have a 10,000 crore AUM scheme, all right, of a debt scheme, be it gilt or be it corporate bonds. Let's say we're talking of corporate bonds, and you have a 1,000 crore similar scheme of another fund manager. Both of them are invested 100 crore each in a certain security or a certain company or a certain bond. You know as well as Nayo, you do the math. The first fund loses only 1% if the entire 100 crores gets, written off or goes bad. The second fund loses 10%. So there is safety in going for large sized funds. So besides, gilt, besides going for AAA, I would also recommend that make sure that the fund size is large. And lastly, just to conclude, the usual caveat: past performance is not a guarantee for future performance. So don't spend too much time analyzing, and this kind of detracts a bit from the Nippon Nivesh plug that I just did at the start. But the fact is, don't focus too much on past performance.
Okay. And Manoj, please clarify to the audience that you did that completely voluntarily. There was nothing from any one of us for you to put that plug.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. It was not a plug at all.
You did it out of selfless love for... Okay. No, because this is an investor event. This is for investor education. And we're trying avoiding brand names. We are avoiding, in fact, completely. And now, Prashant, coming back to you. I've heard that of late, there are fund managers such as you adopting different strategies which work towards, locking in yields and creating more safety for investors. Would you would you please tell us about them?
Sure. In this particular thing, where we are going in for such strategies, what you mentioned, what we have seen over past almost a decade or more than a decade, that we were generating alpha. Say, for example, the gilt fund as a category in the market has generated a return of 9% plus over last 15-20 years on a net basis. But still, we are not seeing that kind of AUM getting into the gilt fund category as a market, as an industry. So what we thought was alpha generation categories are there. Why shouldn't we launch some passive strategies or some strategy wherein you buy and hold or stay long and give a good reinvestment, a compounding return to an investor? Because one thing we have noticed in all these funds, which are long only funds, is investor will face volatility because of interest rate movement, because of initial 2 years of their investment. But if they are looking at an investment horizon of 5 or 10 years, like what you see in FD or tax-free bonds, then clearly these products are giving you good amount of liquidity, returns which are comparable or more than this on a tax efficient basis. And secondly, we are launching products. Many schemes are there who are launching products in the asset classes of GSECs, SDLs, or PSU AAA. So all the three asset classes, as Manoj also said, that they are really safe on a relative basis. There is a quasi-government and government intervention, or we are buying government paper itself when we are doing this scheme. So clearly we are going in for, because currently, as we discussed in the past, the interest rate view that is emanating is clearly accommodative, range bound in near term. And in long term, if you look at inflation, if you look at fiscal deficit, rates are bound to climb up from here. How much, how low or how high, we don't have a clue right now. Yes, but the direction is upwards, maybe after some period in time. So in this, what kind of strategies you should apply? One is you should be investing for pretty long period of time. I'm not saying that you should invest 100% there. There has to be allocation between say short-term and say long bond funds also. But when you are investing for long, the safety aspects comes prior to anything, and that's where the asset class comes, which is PSU AAA, G-Secs or SDLs. So what we are trying to do is construct a portfolio for investor which is quite stable enough, which will give volatility in the initial phase, but later on the reinvestment, even in a rising, till now what we have seen is in rising yield scenario we always make losses, but we don't look at funds in this way that if we stay long enough, say 5 to 10 years or 5 to 7 years, then this volatility which comes because of interest rate or the losses what you incur gets compensated because of the reinvestment happening at higher rate of interest. So at this point in time, as Manoj also covered in his presentation, where yields are kind of stable right now but headed upwards, clearly this kind of strategy makes a lot of sense. And this product is giving you benefit when the yields are going up from a long-term perspective, and also when yields are coming down. So clearly the safety, liquidity and return angle is clearly defined in all these funds, and investor without any sleepless night can look at these funds very, very comfortably.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, there are two questions from the audience. One is for Manoj. You emphasized safety so much that now you've got a question saying, then why aren't you looking at bank deposits? Manoj.
Yeah, sure. So a couple of reasons why. Because obviously bank deposits, I hope whoever is asked this question knows what kind of poor interest rates are currently being paid. The guys who are paying high interest rates, you please remember that only up to 5 lakhs is insured. You see, so I think you got to be a bit careful when you talk of bank deposits and how much you allocate. More importantly, my point is that if you are looking at absolutely safe, and if you look at a gilt fund, it is safer than bank, because nothing can be safer than the government of India's credit risk in any country. So that's
but
the
that comes with attendant risks, interest rate risks, and all that, right?
That's, I think, one point which
is
Prashant
if
made.
you're holding it to maturity.
Precisely. So the point which Prashant made is important. We shouldn't look at debt funds as a temporary liquidity parking.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got that point, that don't invest in a distinct fund for 3-6 months hoping to make good money, because that hasn't worked in the past unless you were lucky. So Joydeep, there's one question, and I think I'd like to take it from what kind of duration risk do you foresee over the next decade or so?
Okay, that's a good question. But a decade is too long a period to call. To put it differently, you do a laddering as per your horizon. So just to give a sense of the ladder, if it is a very short, say, emergency cash kind of thing, 5% of your emergency requirements, you park in a liquid kind of fund. If it is a horizon of, say, 1 to 3 years, you park in a banking PSU or a corporate debt or a short duration, good quality kind of fund. If it is a long horizon of, say, 10 years, what is being discussed now, maybe a government securities fund or a good quality dynamic bond kind of fund you can put in there, or you can put in a roll down fund, because in a roll down fund, progressively the market risk tends to come down. So what I'm trying to say is calling interest rate over a long period of a decade is too difficult. At least I cannot do it. To put it differently, you have a long horizon, and with a long horizon, you can afford to invest in a long maturity fund. Let us say a 10-year, 15-year maturity kind of government security fund. And just to give you one small data point, if you look at the CAGR of the last 18 to 19 years, as researched by CRISIL, the CAGR of government security funds has been the highest, ahead of other debt fund categories. So the point is, even though it is the safest category in terms of portfolio quality, it is more volatile because the portfolio maturity or portfolio duration is higher than the other debt fund categories. In spite of that, over a horizon of last 18, 19 years CAGR, this fund has done better. So with a 10-year horizon, instead of trying to call the market, you simply put your money in a long maturity or long duration government security or a good quality dynamic bond kind of fund.
Okay, great. We have come to the end of our this thing, but what we will do is I'll have a quick question for each one of you. I'd like you to recommend an appropriate category for the time period that these investors are looking for. Okay, so Joydeep, I'll start with you. If someone's looking for an exact substitute for a savings or a current account, which is completely 100% liquid, what would your recommendation be?
If the horizon is very short, then maybe or overnight a liquid fund kind of thing. But even though, no, if the horizon is little longer, maybe say 1 or 2 years, he can come into a banking PSU fund. Because even though G-Secs are the safest, in a banking PSU fund, the portfolio comprises papers issued by banks and PSUs. But yes, it requires a horizon of say 1, 2, 3 years, not exactly a 1 week.
No. This is, he's wanting to keep what is called an emergency fund for his family, where is 6 months of his living expenses. So he doesn't want to take any risk with it, and he wants it to be liquid just in case of an emergency. So perhaps.
In this liquid only, the reason is, as we saw in the Franklin Templeton case, in their ultra short-term fund, even though the portfolio average, within port average was less than 6 months, there was one paper of 9-year maturity. That is about the calculation of duration, Macaulay, and all those technical things. But in a liquid fund, as per SEBI rule, you can have max 91-day maturity of a single paper. So in liquid fund, you cannot do all this hanky-panky. Max 9 months, 91 days maturity of any single paper. So liquid fund for parking your emergency funds.
Okay. And Manoj, 1 to 3 years, if that is the time horizon.
I would go probably for a AAA corporate bond fund, and go for a large size one where your entry exit is likely to be easier. You will seek to exit in any case. The challenge frame, we should remember that corporate bond fund as well has got tax levies nowadays. So if the investment size is small, then you're probably better off in keeping the money in bank deposits, because you have at least that 15,000 tax cut you get for interest on bank deposits. So unfortunately, asset mutual funds have got the short end of the stick even on the debt side, as a result of which, if you look at a post-tax basis, it might not be the most sensible investment. But otherwise, I would go for a AAA fund, which is where the liquidity would be good and I could exit whenever I want.
Okay, great. Prashant, would you agree with the two recommendations?
Yeah, certainly. I think both whatever Joydeep was saying and Manoj was saying exactly suits the investment horizon. See, one thing is very clear, that if it's an emergency fund, don't look at returns. Look at liquidity and safety. Then you should not go above liquid funds.
Yes.
Slightly higher than liquid funds, you can look at various ultra short-term funds which are running a AAA or majority AAA PSU kind of strategy. You can invest there. In the 1 to 3 year bucket, what Manoj said or Joydeep said, exactly right. You can look at short-term category, which is banking PSU funds and short-term funds, where the allocation is basically into PSU, AAA, and sovereign papers only. By the very name, banking and PSU says that. So you are very, very safe in this kind of fund. And as compared to many competitive products in the market, you will get a very tax efficient good returns from this also, and liquidity from this. So I would agree with what the recommendation both of them have given. And obviously we'll add to it that someone who is looking at 3 years plus, I will go with Manoj, what he said in the beginning, that in long term, safety is very, very, very important. And we really don't know how a company fortunes will change in 3 year or 4 year time. It's difficult to take a call. It is not possible at all. So it's better you keep it in safe avenues like PSU, AAAs, sovereign and SDLs. And that's the reason in market we have couple of funds which hold these long dated papers, and they keep on holding it. So one can look at 3 years horizon into those kinds of funds also, where the interest rates are about to turn around from here.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
Now we are 7 minutes over time, so I'll have to unfortunately put a stop to our very interesting discussion. So thank you, Prashant, for being with us. Thank you, Manoj. Very refreshing, very forthright. And I think Prashant is treating you to dinner tonight. And Joydeep, thank you for being with us. Really appreciate your being with us. You really helped us a lot. So thank you so much.
Prashant's performance has bought me lots of lunches last 2
Oh,
years.
so he already treated you to. So आप ये नमक बोल रहा था. Okay, चलो, fantastic.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, चलो, bye bye.
I
Bye.
really
Over
enjoyed
to
it.
you,
Thank you.
Kavya.